When you have a problem like this, it is tempting to look at this and go, okay, A is 1/2, B is going to be 3/8, and C is going to be -9/4. But when you do this, just think about what's going to be under this square root. It's going to be -3/8 squared minus 4 times 1/2 times -9/4, and you're going to have to square root that, and it's going to have a weird denominator, and that is ugly. That is very, very ugly. So we want to avoid this. So there's a technique that will help you clear fractions. And this is the first time we're going to see it, but we're actually going to use it a lot during college algebra and during pre-calculus. So instead of when you see a quadratic equation like this and you have to solve it, instead of solving it with all the fractions, here's what you're going to do. You're going to think to yourself, all right, 1/2, 3/8, and 9/4. What would the common denominator be here? What is the common denominator of those three fractions? Well, it would be 8. Like if we were adding those fractions together, the common denominator will be 8. And this is called clearing fractions using the common denominator. So what we're going to do as a little trick, remember, you can multiply both sides of an equation by anything that we want as long as we do it legally. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 8. And then since this is in parentheses, we're going to distribute that 8 to all three terms that have the fractions. So we're going to have 8 times 1/2 x squared minus 8 times 3/8 x minus 8 times 9/4 equals 8 times 0. Now, let's kind of go over. You can use your calculators to do these if you're really struggling with fractions. But for those of you who are going on to AP, it's good for us to be able to do fractions in our head. So remember, when it comes to a fraction, tops mean multiply, bottoms mean divide. So to do this problem, we're going to think 8 divided by 2 is 4, times 1 is still 4. So half of 8, we can do that in our heads, right? That's 4. Let's look at this one. What's 8 divided by 8? 1 times 3. So this is going to simplify to 3x. Let's look at this last one. 8 divided by 4 is 2 times 9 is 18. And then what is 8 times 0? Well, that's 0. Now look at this question. Isn't that much easier to think about putting into the quadratic formula? Because now A is 4, B is -3, and C is -18. This is called clearing fractions by multiplying both sides by the common denominator. And it works in a lot of different scenarios. But I don't know about you, but I would much rather put 4, -3, and -18 under a square root than put fractions under a square root. So let's go ahead and fill in our quadratic formula. Remember, if you're plugging it in, put it in parentheses. So negative b would be -3 plus or minus the square root of, we're going to put the b squared and fill that in, -3 squared minus 4 parentheses, what goes in there? A and a c all over 2a. So we're going to plug everything very carefully into our quadratic formula. And now it's time to do a little bit of simplification. So we're going to get 3 plus or minus the square root of 297 over 8. Now, taking the square root of 297 is a little bit tricky. Most calculators aren't going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to look at is I'm going to go, okay, 297. Is that divisible by 9? So I'm just going to kind of pop into my calculator. It looks like it might be divisible by 9. It is. 297 is 9 times 33. So when I take the square root of that, what's the square root of 9? That's going to be 3. So it comes out of the radical. And then the thing I can't take the square root of, which is the 33, stays in the stays in the radical, in the square root, and then this whole thing is over 8. So my final answer here is going to be 3 plus or minus 3 square root of 33 all over 8.